Down Under.
Yeah. Here we are. It is not Tuesday the 16th.
And the world has been pushing our buttons, obviously, or not pushing our buttons at that night.
What day are we? Thursday.
It is the 19th today.
Is it Thursday?
Yep.
Yeah.
Friday, the 19th. It's Friday, the 19th.
Is it Friday?
Of September 2014.
Oh, there you go. It's already Friday.
That is correct. And for us here, it's the day before school holidays start for
Queensland.
And it's almost the spring equinox. And from what I'm understanding, there's a lot going on out there. I think we always start with that. There is a lot going on out there.
What's going on out there?
Yeah, tune in. And I know. What's
going on out there?
Wars, famines, plagues, pestilence, all the things that keep you up at night wondering how you're going to solve their problems. Wondering how you're going to keep yourself safe and unaffected by all the ravages of mankind that are happening on the planet. And apparently we can give you the answer to that. That's why someone has put up, oh, I really needed this show today, because they thought they'd find an answer to the world's problems.
Did we? Did we say we're going to give them an answer?
Yep.
Where does it say that?
If the world is pushing your buttons, how to see reason? Where is your focus today? Are you thinking, how do I stay immune from the Ebola virus? Does it keep you up at night wondering what to do with the refugee problem? Are you desperate to know how we're all going to live together in peace?
Does it say we're going to give them an answer? Just ask them lots of questions.
Well, I think it's interesting because it's that kind of thing we were talking, we've just had a phone call with some fabulous people and we were kind of talking on that about the journey and about how the focus is often on the journey and getting to the outcome, or the focus is on the journey and finding the better way to be in a current situation, or trying to improve, or, you know, change the current situation so that it's a better situation for you to be in. And I think a lot of that conversation was about going, how do you not look at things as from a place of trying to gain something, and how do you be in the experience where you are?
Yeah, so how do you be with the Ebola virus? How do you be with refugees? How do you be with the desire to live together in peace? Because it is the desire.
And I think particularly, how do you be with the fact that so many people have differing viewpoints to you on all of the above things? Like when you look around and you see other people with differing viewpoints, that you go, well, their viewpoint is not right. I think a lot of the time our distress comes from when we're rating and ranking other people's responses to these different events as well. I know for myself, you know, yeah, it's when other people's responses differ from mine that I get headed up about it, very headed up about it. And I guess that button's being pushed on top of buttons. That feels like the button was already pushed and then someone comes along and pushes the button on the button.
I don't know. I don't really see it as buttons. I just go, if something, because if someone says, oh, the ocean is purple, you're not even going to bother arguing with them, because you know what's true for you, and it's not something that you need to be right about. But if someone says something about what you believe,
or like they're going to build a mosque down the road, and it's those fanatics that are doing it.
What does that mean?
I just mean, you know, like, because I'm thinking about the things that we wrote on the thing, the Ebola virus. You know, it's something that's happening out there, but it feels like it could affect us. And then the thing with the refugee problem, just say that in brackets, in parentheses, the problem. You know, it's like it's out there, but it's a little bit closer, and it feels like it could affect us even more. But then, you know, if someone's going to build a mosque down the road, or, you know, they're building a McDonald's on the corner, or things that come right into our awareness, right into our community, and we have a particular viewpoint on that, whether it's, that McDonald's is trying to take over the world, or whether we think, what we think about it and how we perceive other people's embracing or not embracing of it.
But you're only going to argue, the point I was getting at is that you're only going to argue with things that you're not certain about. Because if you know it's true and someone says something else, it doesn't matter what someone else says. If you know it's true, it's a fact. You don't have to fight about it. It's not something that you have to argue with someone to convince them that it's true, because you know it's true. It's not really, you've got no charge around stuff that you know is true. You've only got charge around things that you're uncertain about, that you need to convince other people of.
Can you explain that a bit more?
Well, if someone says you have 4 children and you have no children, you're not going to argue with them about it. Like, it's not...
Not if you don't feel like it affects you, but if you feel like it affects you. If they're saying you've haven't got 4 children, so you won't get your benefits pension this week, then you're going to argue.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's a story. I'm talking about your point of view. Like, if you know something is true and someone else says something else, it doesn't matter to you what other people think if you know what you is true for sure.
If you think peace is possible on the planet and you see people going off to war left, right and centre, then you're going to expend a lot of energy.
Well, if you believe it's true, then you're not going to doubt it. Only doubt
but it's
makes
not
you
true
fight
currently on the planet, and for many people it feels like it's part of their job, or not even part of their job, but it just feels like they have an investment in it. They want their children to grow up in a peaceful world, not in a world that's at war.
But if they believe that it's inevitable, if they believe that it's true, then you're not going to argue about it, you're not going to fight about it. You're going to know that it's true. It's only when you're uncertain that you're going to argue about it. Otherwise, you're not threatened. You're only threatened by things that you're uncertain about. If I know that I have spirit guides, or if I know that I dream particular things, someone telling me what dreams are that's different to what I know I don't need to argue with them, because I know what my dreams are. I don't need to convince them that they're wrong. Because I know for sure. It doesn't matter what somebody else says about it.
So why does it matter to so many people? Because people shut down their abilities. People have shut down their truths about what they know, because they have a reference point in this reality that tells them otherwise. Like whether it's peace or spirit guides or...
Because they're uncertain.
Yeah, because they know they might get killed or they might get taken out if they don't shut down their own awareness and have someone else's awareness. They feel like they will be unsafe.
But I might get killed, I might get all those things, but that doesn't change my certainty. All of those things are possible. It's not like I feel immune to things that I can't see that might happen. Planes might fall out of the sky.
Yeah, and some people go...
And there might be an earthquake, but it's not going to change my certainty.
Yep. So what is it that makes you so strong and other people so weak?
It's not about strength.
Well, I just go, that's what it sounds like to someone who's sitting out there going, well, fucking I had spirit guides and no one would trust that, no one would believe that, and I got shut down and I got taken out. And I'm never going to trust that again because of the effect that it had on me, or the effect that I felt unloved because I stood up and stood for what I knew was truth.
But I'm not talking about the acquisition of certainty. You're saying that people who are worried about the Ebola virus, people who are worried about things, points of view that they have that other people don't share. And I'm saying the only difference between wanting to argue about it and not needing to convince other people is certainty. And that's the
But all these people are up at night worrying about all these things because they aren't certain. They have a particular viewpoint that they wished was true. They wished it would be all right to embrace everyone who's at risk on the planet, that we could let all the refugees in, and that we could forgive ourselves for being here on top of other people who didn't invite us, and wish we could be gracious in that and all the rest of it. But they are uncertain. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to go with the whole conversation, because it's just, I don't know. I mean, people are living in fear. They're living in fear that we're going to be taken over by people who don't have the same values as us, that we're going to die of some diabolical disease, that some other culture is going to come in and we're not going to be able to live the way we live, or I don't know what their fear is, but there seems to be that it's a lot of fear. And even if you have a particularly stable and nice kind of lifestyle, then there's a fear that that's going to get taken away from you.
Okay. And if it does, how does being afraid get you what you want? I mean, if a country is going to invade and take over, how does being afraid
Well, it sends you to war.
do anything?
That's all it does, is it makes you become the aggressor. You go and you smash someone else.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but even if you're an old lady, like how does fear of what might happen have any, like, how is it serving you? Like, I'm not sure what the point of being afraid of what might happen.
But it's not like people choose it. They don't feel like they choose it. They don't feel like they get up in the morning and go, what shall I do today? I think I'll be worried about my mortgage, and then I'll choose to worry about the Ebola virus, and then I'll choose to worry about, there's something in the newspaper, refugees. I'll choose to worry about that as well. It just feels like, I think they feel like they have no choice in this matter. These things are pounding in on them, and all of these things provoke fear. And they provoke restrictions, and they provoke sides. They provoke areas that are taboo to even talk about in some ways, because other people's viewpoints are going to be different to yours. They provoke separation.
Because you need to talk about it.
Well, you can't. That's the thing, you can't, because other people's viewpoints on it may be wildly differing from yours.
So why do you need to have a theory about it? What's the point of having a story about it?
Because you're trying to keep yourself safe. You're trying to find a way to orchestrate a journey through life where you are safe, where your little worldviews can remain intact.
I don't understand. How do you control that? I guess I don't have any sense of controlling.
People have spent their whole lives trying to protect themselves, trying to set up a little nice, comfortable world where they feel like they can have their viewpoints and they can have their way of living and they can have their friends and family safely around them and everyone can live happily ever after. And yes, it's an illusion, but it's an illusion that gives people some sense of certainty. I don't know. That's where people get their certainty from, that illusion.
So then they do have certainty, but it's just not around their point of view. Is that what you mean?
Well, it's around the illusions that we've all built up. It's like we were talking the other day. We had 2 Americans in the room, and it was the anniversary of 9/11. And someone went, "Oh, it's the anniversary of 9/11." And one person went, "Yay!" And the other one went, "Oh, how can people react like it's a good thing when my friends were over there?" And da, 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 da. You know, and people actually did die. And people are saying it happened. Well, it happened. I saw the smoke and da, 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 da. And we were just talking about how, you know, that was a experience on the planet where mass consciousness connected around one event. Like it was the first time on the planet where we actually as a mass consciousness connected around one event. And it blew apart a paradigm, because generally everyone, whether you're first world, third world, whatever, everyone was going towards this: if I just consume enough things and get what I want and set myself up in a particular way, I will be safe. I will create this environment where I am safe. I will have a good job that brings in good money, that makes me be able to buy food. And, you know, the more money I have, the more safety I will have, the more I will have what I need. And then somewhere in that moment, that illusion got smashed down. It's like where that was kind of the pinnacle of that kind of lifestyle, of that kind of consume to be safe and create the things around you to be your little fortress that will keep you safe. It's almost like at that moment the mass consciousness on the planet went, "Whoa, that's not invincible." You know, like that idea is crumbled down. I'm not sure what that's got to do with this, actually.
Well, I think it has everything, because the idea of control, for me, the idea that you can control what occurs, is completely foreign to me.
But I guess that's that thing too of going, well, I surrender to whatever, you know, to the moment, to divine, whatever, to whatever. I surrender. But in that, there's an attachment to, if I surrender, I'm going to get the outcomes I want. You know, I'm going to be spiritually aware, and I'm going to look like this, and I'm going to look like that. And so even somewhere in the I'm surrendering, and I don't, you know, let these things come, let these things go, there's still an attachment to some kind of outcome, to that I will be protected if I surrender, that I will be looked after, that I'll be safe, that I'll get what I want. I'm just thinking about, you know, like how to see reason. Where is your focus today? You know, why are people getting up and going, I just want life to be different. I just want the world to be different. I just want my life to be different to what it is. Because it feels like in all these problems, I'm looking at what's going on in the world and, you know, wanting things to be different. I'm not sure, you know, where is our focus? And why it's driving us crazy. Trying to live in a world that's different to the one we actually live in. Like, it's driving us all crazy. There's anxiety and frustration and depression and tension, and the ultimate pinnacle of it is going to war with other people to try and make them different to what they are.
They just feel like really big stories outside of the embodied experience. Because even in war, each moment is a moment. In childbirth, each moment is a moment.
There's something about the fact that we are able to tap into, whether it's Facebook or the news or whatever, and go, oh my gosh, our president, our prime minister, or whoever is sending troops into another country of people just like us to fight some evil beheaders or whatever's going on. Like, and we know somewhere that it's just a country like ours. Somewhere we know it's just another country with another bunch of people trying to do their best, trying to have an experience of safety, trying to live their life. Yep, some of them have gone off the deep end and have been quite extreme in their reactions, but we know that there's people in our own countries who are going off the deep end and being extreme in their reactions. I don't know, and we don't feel like we've got any power over those things. But we still feel like we get up every morning, we're bombarded by these decisions that feel outside of our control.
Are you talking about politics now?
No, I'm talking about what's happening on the planet. what's happening to other people. People are dying of the Ebola virus. People are having war forced onto them when they're just trying to get on with their daily life. People are, people are on boats trying to get to somewhere safe, and where our country is turning them back. Yes, that's politics, but so many of us are experiencing that as a lived experience. We see all that and we have an embodied experience of it. Oh my God, what would that be like? That could be me. Tomorrow that could be me. Tomorrow that could be someone invading my country. That could be me on a boat. That could be me getting sick. That could be my experience. Like, it feels like there's something about.
But I think that's two different things. If you're being called to act in a system, you can still be present with your experience right now. It doesn't have to be about what could be happening tomorrow. If you're called to act in the political realm, then you can still do that from a present-centered space. You don't have to have a sense of doom and disaster and injustice and hatred and people are idiots and I have to do it differently because otherwise we'll all perish. Like, you can still come from I have no control and I surrender to this moment, but you can still work within a system and do whatever it is that you're called to do. Is that what you mean? No.
Oh, I'm just having the conversation because I think it is the conversation that is on people's minds a lot. Like, I don't watch any media. I don't even know how I know these things are happening.
But you do. You go on Facebook every day. You know what's happening because of...
Yeah, but none of what I know, it's just been glimpses of radio in shopping centres or whatever.
You watch YouTube a lot. Like, you are
But none of this information is from that media. It's from the media. It's from the
radio.
The media that I can't get away from.
In the car.
I've chosen to turn media off completely.
Yeah. Do you listen to the radio in the car?
Well, I walk into the staff room and there's newspapers on the table.
But you don't have to read them.
No, you don't. But you know that everyone else at that table's just read it. And so part of you goes, what are they tuning into?
Part of you goes.
Yeah, part of me goes, what are they tuning into? What is affecting people's ability to stay buoyant? People are going down with all this information, like they're going down with it. That's why the people who've tuned in today have tuned in, because they've read, is the world pushing your buttons?
Mm.
How do I stop myself from going crazy thinking about these issues? Because it's immobilizing me. Like, for many people, it immobilizes them.
Mm.
The fact that there's this stuff happening to other people on the planet right now, and they're sitting in their nice suburban home doing whatever it is they do, and they cannot figure out how they, from where they are sitting right now, can actually have an impact on it.
Well, what if you can't? What if it's not about impact?
But that's the other bit that sends them crazy. It's
like,
well, what if I just can't?
Mm. What if it's not about that? What if it's not about you as a separate being changing something that's outside of you? What if it's a completely different experience? Because I'm not sure that people who are suffering want you to suffer as well. I'm not sure that there's a sense of share my misery that goes on. And if it's not about the impact that you have, if you are called to do something, then do something, but you can still do it from a place where you tune to your own sense of what is. If you can't breathe, how is that helping? Because you can't do your job, you can't focus, you can't be present-centered, you can't have the experience that you need to have if your focus is outside of what needs to be happening for you.
And then I feel like that brings us back to the certainty thing, because you haven't got certainty in your own life, in your own world, about what your job is or what impact you're having, or it's not even what impact you're having, but that you're loved and you're able to love people in your circle, sphere of influence or whatever. Then a lot of the time your focus is out on other things. But then all of that relies on people being in the sphere of impact. That's still
exchange. That's still like being loved and giving love. And I guess it depends. What is your priority? You know, so for me, it is, am I doing my job? The most powerful thing I can do on this planet at any point in time is to be who I am and to do my job. But if I'm not listening to the instructions, if I'm not doing what I'm meant to be doing, then I'm not the most powerful aspect of all that is.
But even with that, most people go, my worth is in what I do. And if I'm not doing my job, it means I'm not worthwhile. Like, if I'm not doing what I'm here to do, I'm not worthwhile. Like, even I know your understanding of doing your job is very different to that, because that's still in the field of exchange.
But if you're feeling like you're not worthwhile, then you're not the most powerful aspect of all that is. Feeling worthwhile is an integral part of that experience. It has to be. And so if you're not feeling worthwhile, that's where the focus, how am I worthwhile? What am I doing? Why am I here? What is happening? Rather than what is not happened, what do I need to learn? What are the things I'm getting wrong? How can I improve? All of that stuff takes you out of being worthwhile. And if you don't feel worthwhile, you can't operate from a place that is clear. It feels distracted.
Even in saying that, I just get this sense where people have to experience how worthless they feel. I know that sounds crazy, but somewhere to be able to drop in and be where you actually are, like, because it feels like there's a lot of people out there who just rush around and are pushing the limits, and they're trying hard and they're doing their best and they're having an impact and they're making an effect and they're getting outcomes and they're going hard and but they can't stop and be. I mean, we do this exercise with the kids where they actually just have to stand in front of each other and be, and they cannot do it. It's very difficult. They've never had an experience of just being with someone. Someone's always doing or giving, or, you know, like someone, there's continuous pushing of energy around. It feels like in our culture we have not learnt the art of being, or just we haven't given a chance to stop.
I mean, it's like, it feels like if you can't breathe, your body can't oxygenate your system, your brain can't function. If you can't be in a loving, worthwhile space, then your brain can't produce chemicals that allow you to think clearly.
I'm just going to repeat that again. For all the people who are still holding their breath, Mel said, if you can't breathe, which means let go.
Yeah.
Take in another breath. And that's also these people who are rushing around doing 10 things at once on their computer right now, still opening emails, still doing something over there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, just get all this done and then I can stop and focus on you. It is like kind of a relief to not have to do anything except breathe.
Yeah. But all those things rely on you being able to, I mean, it's just a metaphor, but you being able to breathe allows all of that other stuff to work. It's like when we look at the research on why the program Confidence at Play is important. Because creativity helps your brain take in new information. Creativity is part of innovative learning. You can't sit with a book and just take in information. You need to stop and breathe and have light and food and water for your brain, for your mind, and for your body to learn something. It's not, and then some people need to practice and move and talk about it. For some people, it needs to be written down in their own handwriting. There is a sense that whatever is going on, all of that stuff needs to be happening at the same time. And if you have time to do all of those things in your focus of who you are right now in this moment, and then you still have time left over to start focusing on what's going on in the world or not going on in the world, or what someone else is doing or what someone else is not doing, then I would say there is a lot more happening. There is a job that's operating in the background, because you are always doing it, but there is a job that's operating in the background. If you have extra time left to worry about all of that other stuff, then there is another job operating in the background that you're attuned to. And what is that? How can you know what that other experience you are having is? And asking that question and not expecting an answer, just having the question.
And it's interesting because I was talking to someone else about them wanting to change. They were going, I want to change, I want things to be different. And I was talking about the challenge for me in going, I really am committed to change, and I really want things, the experience for me to be different was letting go of who I thought I was. You know, I was an activist, or I was a surface performer, or I was a social worker, or I was whatever, you know, whatever those labels were that I'd given myself, that I was very attached to. You know, I am someone who gives service to people. I have to always constantly be in service, and if it's not in service, it is of no value.
Would you like to be on the TV show?
Hey, we've got someone popping their head over the counter here, and you don't even get to see them, but we can see them. He thinks it's really funny. He's going, hello, and you can't see him, but he's just there. It's the hermit. Yes, he's behind the cupboard now. Quickly, we'll see if we can catch him. No, we missed him. Oh, look, there he is. Hey, you saw his hand on the top of his eyes. That's very exciting, because we do talk about that hermit a little bit, and he's on his way out the door. Yeah, so just around roles and around who you are, and like, you know, I'm a non-drinker, I'm a non-smoker, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a whatever category, whatever box you put yourself in. When you go to operate differently and step outside that box, it's a very unfamiliar ground.
Yeah.
It's a very new experience. And for some people, the person I was actually talking to, they were going, God, I've got nothing in my head now. What do I do with that? I've got no goals. I don't understand. What am I supposed to do with this new way of being in the world? And it was for that person, it felt foreign, it felt alien, it felt like it wasn't themselves. But they just let it go of this big layer of expectations and judgments and objectives and outcomes and stress and pressure that they've been putting on themselves about having to be something to get somewhere, to be something for someone, to feel worthy. And they dropped a lot of that. So there was this empty space. And of course, the first thing that the old kind of patterns want to do is rush in there with one of the old patterns and start being of service, or finding something to think about, or finding the problem, or stressing on something. There must be something to stress about. There must be something I have to fix. There must be something that I can do to look worthwhile, or to act like I'm a good person. So, taking a breath and dropping back in.
And then I guess when that does come up, when you've made that space, and the first thing that comes in is doing and goodness and service and all of that stuff, it's coming in for a reason. So how does it serve you? Because the other cycle of worthlessness is, oh, there I go again, I'm wrong. There I go again, I'm letting it in and doing it the wrong way. There I go again, I'm looking for goals. There I go again, assessing the world and myself. So without the worthlessness, without the labels of who you are, without the sense of what needs to get done in order for you to deserve to be able to breathe and be in this moment. How do all of those things serve you?
And I think that's also, you know, if you've had an illness or you've been diagnosed with something, or you've had a mental illness particularly, or even a physical illness, but, you know, there's that tendency to, when you are in a new place, suddenly grab for the old box and go, oh, but what about if I'm still in?
Yeah.
Is this part of my Asperger's? Is this part of my
symptom?
Chronic fatigue, my cancer, my whatever the thing is that you've been in, or even if it's like codependence or hyperactivity, or, you know, it's so many things, so many boxes that we put ourselves in.
Even just hormones. For some reason, that's come up a couple of times recently. Even male and female, but, you know, specifically.
I'm hormonal, I'm having midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm angry because I'm
angry because I'm a man. I'm upset because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it actually dismisses our ability to sit in the experience.
Because there's lots of situations where we won't know. I mean, most of the time when I have that kind of empathic emotion, I don't know where it's coming from. I'll get information about it after I've had the experience. And I just have to trust that the feeling is there for a reason. I can't try and sort it out. I can't ask for information while I'm in it. I have to be in the process, and then I get information about what it was about. But it requires a lot of faith that it's there for a reason. And I know that it always is, no matter how intense or frightening the experience is. I always know that I'm having it for a reason. And I can ask for whatever I need to have that experience. So if I need to go for a walk and I don't want to do that alone, I can ask someone I love to come with me. And I can say, I don't know what's happening. These are the things that I'm feeling and I don't know why. And I go for a walk and I have that experience. But I can ask for what I need. If I need to close the door and not have anyone with me, I will do that. If I need to have a shower, I will do that.
And then there's the interesting thing of, if you do ask for what you need, or you do shut the door, and that person either doesn't give you what you need or comes in the door, you know, then there's a new thing to be with. And not put in the box, because there's that tendency to go, oh, she's just a woman, she just wants someone to bond with her. I just think I need that because I'm like that. Or, you know, for the man to go, I'm just going into the toilet and locking the door because I need to be in my cave, I'm just a bloke, that's just what blokes do. You know, like, there's a sense that no matter which way it rolls, if you say I need something and the person then doesn't give you that space you need or that connection that you need, it is an opportunity for you to see how that serves you.
Yeah, because it's not about control. It is your responsibility to ask for what you want and to say what you need, but that is not about outcomes. It's not about control. It is your responsibility to ask for what you want and say what you need, and that's it, and have the experience.
And I think it's to have your experience, not their experience. Yeah, if that makes sense. Because we often jump over and go, oh, well, he is a bloke and he has got Asperger's and he is like this, so what am I going to do about that? You know, so you straight away jumping into all the boxes you put them into, rather than looking at what boxes you are putting yourself into.
Yeah, and that goes for the politicians and the refugees and the Ebola situation. All of that stuff is the stories that we tell and how we get outside of our experience. We are having an experience of the Ebola virus, having a consciousness of what is happening. How does that serve you? Do you even know what your embodied experience of that consciousness is? And I'm not talking about tuning in empathically to someone else who's actually got the Ebola virus. I mean, your experience of your consciousness of knowing that the Ebola virus is happening on a planet that you are part of. What is your experience of that?
What Mel just said is important too, because there are a lot of people in there who can tune in from here to there, and they can suddenly be tapped right in.
Yeah.
You know, they can be watching a news report and see the flash of a photo of someone, and they are there.
Yeah.
They're, you know, they can also just think about it or see a flash of it on social media and feel the tension that is resonating when thousands of people tune into the news broadcasts about it. So, yes, that sense of letting yourself have your experience, dropping right back into your own personal lived embodied experience right here, right now. And yes, it may be bouncing off all those other things. Those other things may be coming in, and you may be having experience from all different viewpoints.
Yeah.
But they're also yours. And so how does it serve you to have those? How does it serve you to be tapped into those different manifestations of consciousness on the planet?
And to know that there is always a reason. It's like before someone even decides to come and see me therapeutically, I will start having an empathic experience of what's going on for them. And I won't know. They haven't rung me yet. So I have experiences, and I just have to trust that they're for a reason. And then as soon as that person talks to me, I immediately know that all of those experiences were about them. So it's the same for having your experience of whatever's going on in the world. There is no separation between you and your empathy, but it only comes in when it needs to. You get the messages when you need to have them. And if you keep your focus on your experience, all of those doors will be open when they need to be. It's not like you cut yourself off from other people. You don't need to go searching for that stuff. It will be part of your consciousness when it needs to be.
And on that note, I'd love you to get a pen and paper out. Pen and paper, pen and paper. This is the part where we have the test. No, it's not. That was a joke.
Yeah.
I guess there was a couple of things that all of that made me think, and one of them was that beliefs precede reality, create reality, and I think that's just something that that came up while I was thinking about this. That I feel like we need to talk about next week, where beliefs, you know, your thoughts create
which is
reality.
where your focus is. Your beliefs are where your focus, what you're looking for, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So next week we'll be talking a bit more about beliefs create reality, and don't go poo-bah, yes, all that law of attraction manifesting stuff. It's not the same. It's not quite the same focus as that. And even though I know there's a lot of people out there who've been working on creating their realities through thoughts and beliefs and are feeling a bit ripped off because they've been working on it for a long freaking time and it's not quite panning out how they expected. Yes, they can manifest the car park and they can manifest some nice things in their house, but hell, this ebola stuff, it's still...
But that's all control.
Bedeviling them.
And I think that's the difference between, like, when you've got law and attraction and manifestation, there's a way you can do all that stuff and you still stay in control, that you're doing something for an outcome.
So we will talk a bit more about that next week. So still kind of on the same theme, but a bit more into that area. And I know people are going during the week. Like I've seen a lot of people on Facebook this week in different places going, whoa, this is really heavy help. I need someone to back me. And I think that reaching out to other people and having conversations with other people and connecting to other people in all different ways, whether it is sitting silently in prayer with them or however you choose to do that. I know last weekend was the Unity concert in the Black Hills. You can see that streaming live online at Uplift. So if you look up Uplift Byron Bay, which is an amazing festival that's coming up in December as well, so you can find out all the information about the Uplift Festival in Byron Bay, but you can also watch the live streaming of the Unity concert, which was fabulously about, you know, connecting with the planet and other beings. Also, this weekend is the solstice, so if you are interested in having an amazing experience on the solstice, go to Ken Stone, Soul Archaeologist, and look for his events page. You can log in to freely access his Solstice for the Soul, even though it's the equinox, but he does them every solstice, every equinox, and it's a guided meditation, the distance healing of a type, which he is an amazing distance healer. So if you've got things going on that you want some adjustments made, he's quite ready to play.
We might put the link on our website.
We also have on our website the Miranda McPherson gig on the Ship Network. So you can tune into all these things. And, of course, if you are the kind of person who is a messenger and you are ready to get your message out in the world and you're kind of looking at us sitting here talking and going, God, I've got stuff to share too. I've got things to add to that conversation. And you're at that point where you're really going, how the hell do I get my message out there? Check out Christine Close's Transformational Authors pages and look down, find her Master Heart section. If you really want some solid, if you're ready to make an investment in your mentoring to get your book out there, to get your whole platform up and running, Christine Closer is doing KLOSER, her Master Heart program. She's just done her Transformational Authors Retreat in Baltimore, so you'll see photos of that on her page. I think there was over a couple of hundred people there this year that are all being, you know, heavily mentored by her to get their message out there into the world, not only to transform themselves, but to transform their business and the world. So they are working in quite an amazing community of authors looking at different ways to get their works out there and build their platforms. So if you can't have us during the week, well, you can ring us any time and have a session with us. We love doing one-on-one work with people. We've got the perfect present for you to sign up with. It just feels like if you are open to having a really powerful experience at this time, there are plenty of places to drop in and do that. Ken Stone, Christine Closer, Miranda McPherson, Mella Louise.
And it's like, I know that a lot of the stuff that we talk into lifts that sense of not being able to breathe and lifts that ability to focus somewhere else, and trying to retain the essence of that message after the show sometimes can be it's like, well, how do I need to write it down? How do I get an idea of what they're doing so that I can maintain that? And I think that's what the sessions can do for people, is there's a sense that you have the session and talking to those areas, and it gives you some internal tools for you to maintain that stuff throughout your week, throughout your at work, in the different places that you exist, so that you can translate that moment of being expanded.
And that makes me think of two things. On the Creating Calm broadcast network, which is what we are a part of, there's some fantastic other shows. There's some great cooking shows and great Irish shows and great all kinds of dream shows on the Creating Calm broadcast network. Our page on that has all our shows on it, and it also will have a special offer soon. So if you're kind of thinking, oh, I'd really like to work with those girls, can't quite do it right now, but really looking for it, keep your eye on the Creating Calm broadcast Miracles and Wonder page. And it also made me think, there's some people out there going, make me breathe, you people, you're pushing my buttons. You said you're going to do me out and not react to people pushing buttons, but now all my buttons have been pushed and I'm about to explode. And I think a lot of what we just talked about, the fact that you are probably a messenger. Whatever we're saying that's pushing your buttons is the place where you can walk into.
Yeah, that's your inner guidance saying, I know what is true. I know I have something to say.
You're seeing us stand up here with our message, and it's pushing your buttons because you know you've got something to add to that. You're bringing in some other information. Your experience tells you something different, that there's other people out there and they need to hear it from you. And that's why you're going, oh, what are they saying now for all those people who need to hear something else? Can you just shut up now? I'm ready to get on with it. So even if you're ready to get on with it and we're pushing your buttons, that may be a sign for you to have a session with us so that we can help you hone.
Yeah.
And even if it is by us saying something and you go, no, that's not it.
And then you know exactly what it is.
And then you go, oh, it's this.
Yeah, and that's perfect.
That helps you fine-tune exactly what your message is and where your gift is vibrating very strongly in you.
Yeah. So you can find us in all of those places that we mentioned, as well as miraclesandwonderdownunder.com.
Oh, and of course, if you're doing something amazing that you go, wow, what I'm doing resonates with these girls, woohoo, please let us know. Send us something, post it on our Facebook page. We don't mind. We love seeing what else is going on out there and sharing things with people. So have a fantastic equinox. Do something magical for yourself. It's spring here. And you guys are having your beautiful fall, your beautiful autumn.
We'll have to take some photos of the Swell Sculpture Festival for show and tell next week.
Oh, yes, I've got one that I love. I just put it up on my Facebook page, Louise Moriarty one.
Yeah.
Ooh, I might put it up on Miracles Moments because it is beautiful. And it's our friends at the Dust Temple, so very beautiful sculptures down there. If you can get down to Currumbin Beach this weekend, I think it's the last weekend, there's about 50 or 60 sculptures on the front of the beach. And it's absolutely magical. And the weather is, woohoo! The geckos are singing again. It's gecko singing time.
Please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, lots of love from us.
Lots of love.
Travel.
Well, we'll see you next Tuesday. We'll see.
We'll see if Tuesday's a viable
We'll
option.
keep you posted.
All right, ciao.